Okay, so today we're gonna pull the interior out, hopefully get the dash, the carpet, expose all the wiring harness, and start removing the harness as well, so that we can transplant the M3 harness in and then throw the interior back together. So we got the dashboard out and we're just trying to figure out if we'll be able to put the new harness in behind. I feel like it's just gonna be easier if we start removing all of this stuff. So like the heater core, the blower motor there, this bar, whatever you wanna call it. That way we can get in and pull the old harness out, and transplanting the new harness back there will just be easier. So I think we're gonna start doing that now. Asking for the other one.
Then get the f out yourself and get it. Jesus, you have a million of the exact same thing.
Look.
Shut up. Dude, bring the camera right here. This is the big red thing. How is that not it?
What would you think the biggest
Oh, it's that big.
Now we can actually see the extent of the harness. Like it's a little f***ier than I thought. We can get it done. Basically, we got the dash out, we got the metal, whatever the hell it's called, the brace or something that holds the dash on. And now I think we're gonna start with removing the carpet, expose more of the harness. Like there's obviously a ton of wiring harness underneath the carpet. So I think the heater core assembly also needs to be removed because there's a big harness that kind of runs behind it. And I think it goes to the junction box over there. We either take this out first or the carpet. I guess you'll see what we decide, whichever seems easier. And hopefully we start making more progress. So we were impatient and kind of felt like it was loose enough to where just these pipes felt like they were in that rubber grommet and being held. So I pried at it a little and the back of this plastic snapped right off. So now I'm gonna see if I can either replace this piece, which it does look like it's meant to be replaced because it's got screws holding it. And if not, I'm gonna have to figure out what I can do, either whether I buy a new heater core or what I go about doing. But it is off. We have exposed the entire harness now. It's easy to reach it all, but we did break this in the process. All right, so it doesn't look the prettiest, obviously, but as you can see, we got it welded up, plastic welded. First, what we did was we melted it on, as you were watching, and then we put extra plastic on top of it and melted that on as well and spread it all around. So now it's so strong that like I feel comfortable holding it, moving it around and whatnot. So should be good to go. So we're gonna try to take the carpet out now. Looks like should be relatively straightforward, but obviously we're gonna probably run into some issues. We'll let you guys know what the tricky stuff was once we're done. Coming through! Okay, so as you guys saw, the carpets came out relatively easily. The accelerator pedal was just one thing that was holding the carpet down on the driver's side. On the passenger side, we just kind of had to pull down and out, and it was no problem. There's a bracket holding the rear carpet on, and then the e-brake handle as well had to come off. Besides that, as you guys saw, it was pretty straightforward. Now the entire harness is exposed, and the next thing would be to just take photos of it, kind of memorize where all the wires are routed, and then start putting the M3 harness in. The plan for today is to start pulling out the original 135 harness and transplanting the M3 harness. So this here is an E92 M3 harness complete. And what we're gonna do, I think, is lay it out on the floor, kind of get an idea of how it's supposed to go in, and then start pulling that harness out and putting this harness in. What the hell? No way. This car had a radar detector in it. Passport 9500 CI interface. That's cool. So I guess all this wiring in here, it's been wired in already. I guess we're going with a radar detector on this car. What we decided is we'll start taking the stuff that's kind of behind the dash, so things that go into the firewall and like this junction box and this main harness up here. We'll pull that out like through the firewall and right away put the M3 harness in, just because it's all fresh in our memory, and then that way we'll slowly start pulling this apart and rolling it back, and at the same time putting the M3 harness and running it throughout the car. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I mean, I think it should work. We're going to start off by taking this box off now. I'm working! So we got the junction box in, we got the harness that goes through the firewall into the engine bay on both sides in. Now it's just a matter of running this wire along here, basically matching how it was originally, and the same thing on that side, the driver's side. And there's no real point in filming it all because it's just gonna be tedious little wire work, but I guess we'll show you guys once we kind of have the entire harness laid in, and we'll go from there. We got the M3 harness put in, basically routed exactly where it's supposed to run. Some of the wires obviously don't line up exactly, so like some need to be extended, some need to be shortened. So there's a wire back here that is for the speakers that sit up here that needs to be extended a little bit, so we're gonna use this wire and extend that. There's also the battery cable in the trunk that needs to be extended. A couple other little ones, nothing really that crazy, but we've got the harness ran as it's supposed to, and essentially all the wires you see here go behind the dash or the heater core, and also in the center console area. Everything else gets covered by the carpets, so we're pretty much done with the wiring. The fuel pump wiring is also done. I think most of the wiring is complete. We're just gonna start putting the interior back in. But before we do that, we kind of want to see if the engine's gonna crank or start. So we might attempt that first, and then after that, start putting, if it does crank, start putting the interior in, completing the dash, all the carpeting, seats, all that kind of stuff. So I hope in the next video we can try starting the car.